Ableton Live 9 demo/preview. This particular demo will focus on the ability to be able to analyze audio data and turn it into MIDI data. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a loop, an audio loop that has some chords in it, analyze those chords and turn those chords into a MIDI clip. And then we're going to use that MIDI clip as a means to augment our production. So we're going to add bass and some extra items into our production to kind of fatten it up, make it a little more musical without too much effort, thanks to this new tool that's available in Live 9. We're going to get there by using 3 particular pieces of audio, so let me play those for you. That's our audio loop with the chords in it. We're going to analyze that, and we're going to get some information about the tonality of the loop, and we're going to use that as a means to augment our production. So we're going to take that breakbeat and turn it into more of a housey, bouncy thing. We'll use that little bit of percussion to add to the rhythm of our production today. All audio being used in this demo is either part of a free live pack that you can download from Ableton.com, or it's already installed when you install Ableton Live 9 Suite. So when we're finished, we're going to get something that sounds a little bit like this. Our final result will sound exactly like that, as a matter of fact. Without further ado, let's get started. Right now, I'm showing you Live 9's new file browser. Allows you to quickly get to all major categories, as well as some individually assignable places, as you see down below where it says places. I've clicked on Live Packs. Most of today's demo will revolve around some pieces that I got from live packs that I've either downloaded or were initially installed. So if you want to follow along, you can go to Ableton.com and download any live packs that you see on my screen that you don't have installed and quickly grab them. So I'm just previewing some clips by clicking on them. If you see that you click on a clip and the preview is not playing, you can click down below where it says click preview and it will render quickly. So for new live packs that you've installed, you have to get the preview. Okay, so this is our loop that we're going to use for today's demo. We're going to get the tonal information from this loop and use it as a means to augment a production that we're going to build around that loop and its tonality. One thing that's great about Live is you can have a musical idea like this loop that we like and take it and manipulate it to create your own melodic progression. So let me start out by just getting a rhythm out here. So this is our first rhythm. So this percussion loop is from the Solid Sounds live pack. It's a free download from Ableton.com. So once again, if you want to follow along or just get some extra free sounds, go to Ableton.com, go to Live Packs, and this Solid Sounds live pack should be available for you. Our second loop is also included in the Solid Sounds live pack extension that I installed. So I'm going to go ahead and preview this. That's the one we want. So the next step in this production is to take this existing loop and its tonality and make a progression out of it that fits our liking. So I'm going to take the existing tonality or pitch and turn it into a musical progression, and then after that we'll convert it into MIDI data. We're going to make this progression by going into our audio clip, dividing it into parts, and then taking those parts and individually transpositioning them as needed to create a new tonal progression. So you need to double click on your clip, go down to the transposition parameter, and you can either nudge it up or down by clicking using the arrow key, or you can kind of click and drag with your mouse. So I just give you a little preview there. Our first step is to divide the clips into individual parts by selecting individual areas of the clip. As you can see, I'm dragging and highlighting down below, or in the second case here, I've clicked, put my playhead down, and shows split in both cases. The next step is to transpose each individual clip to a new pitch so we can make our progression the way that we like it. So I'm going to play around with this for a bit. I'm just transposing the individual parts by clicking on the clip to highlight them, and then clicking on the transpose parameter that's down on the bottom left in the detail window. This progression is interesting as it is, but I think I want to do a little more to this. I'm feeling a little boxed in by the rhythm at this point, and I want to kind of change it up to make it a little more like something I would actually play if I were a musician maybe. So I'm going to duplicate this idea just to kind of set it aside. So I just highlighted all the clips, held down my Alt key and dragged it to the left just to set aside a copy of the idea. Now what I want to do is go into the clips and use my warping capabilities to change up the rhythm a little bit. So I'm going to try to make the initial chords a little longer, therefore also making the second part of the musical progression a little shorter. So I'm going to do this again by just double clicking on the clip, moving warp markers to speed up or slow down in some cases the audio at any given instance. This will also give us some flexibility again for how to move this stuff around and make a new progression. I'm liking this extended note, so I'm going to duplicate it 3 times by clicking on the handle of the clip, choosing Apple D on the Mac for duplicate, or the Control D on the PC. With my 3 copies, I'm going to transpose them individually now, so they each have individual tonal places. I think we are where we need to be tonally. Just need to bridge this gap. I'm going to grab the edge of the clip and close this gap in our progression. Now we can finally make this into one large audio clip. So we're going to join these audio clips and render them into a new one. And then we're going to take that and convert it into the MIDI data. To render all the audio clips as one new audio clip, we just need to select all of the clips that we want to join together, right click on them, and go to consolidate. Apple J is the shortcut. What this is going to do is take our existing audio clip and render it into something new. Now we get to the fun part, which is to convert this into MIDI data. So I'm going to select Convert Harmony to New MIDI Track. So again, it's going to take the audio in this newly rendered loop, analyze the tonal information, and make an appropriate MIDI accompaniment on another track. So now we have a MIDI clip that has the tonal information that is in the audio data that we analyzed. So now we can use that MIDI data to add other things to our production and kind of keep, let's say, tonal integrity, so to speak, or manipulate it if we feel like we need to. So it's up to you to know when to break the rules and when to kind of abide by them. As you can imagine, this is a great tool if you're trying to do a remix, or if you're trying to help someone with something musical and you don't have the ability to either get the tonal information or key that something was in. You can simply analyze some of the audio that's already been recorded, get what you need, and kind of help add to your production, or if it's a remix, again, kind of get things started in terms of where to land, tonally speaking. I brought out a filter to add some dynamic to our existing audio clip. Now I'm going to control that filter with something that is new for Live 9. Max for Live has been added to Suite, so now if you purchase Live 9 Suite, you will automatically have Max for Live included. Max for Live has been updated and integrated much more smoothly into the Ableton program itself. One of the great new features of this is a free floating LFO. So this LFO can be assigned to anything that's MIDI assignable. So what I'm going to do is create some waves that are going to control some parameters in my filters. You can kind of hear that I'm opening and closing the cutoff of the filter using this LFO. It's very easy to assign. You simply click map and then click the parameter that you want to map it to, as I just did with the resonance right there. Very much like how you assign anything in MIDI in Ableton. You have a number of waveforms to choose from. I'm going to choose triangle, but you also have sine and noise and sawtooth waves, rectangle waves you can choose from. You can move the waves out of phase, so in this case where I have two waves that are kind of in sync, I'm trying to offset them by changing the phase of one of the waves against one of the others, so the waves could even be in sync but out of phase. Next part of this demo is to get the other rhythm going. We have that breakbeat, which is from another live pack, so let's go ahead and go over to our live packs and get the Cutmaster Kurt live pack. Cutmaster Kurt is a member of the famous Loop Pack crew, if you're familiar with them. If you're into beat making or digging through crates, this live pack is a good one to get. Again, another free download from Ableton.com. We're going to take this live pack and find some dusty, crunchy beats, but we're going to turn them into more of a house thing as opposed to a hip-hop thing. This is our clip. I'm going to bring it out onto our stage. This fits pretty well as it is, but we're going to try to bring it into the realm of house music. So this clip has two portions. There's some MIDI data that drives the rhythm, and then of course there's the samples that are in the drum rack that is attached to it. So the good news here is that we can easily edit or manipulate the rhythm to our needs. So we can easily take this already hip-hop ready loop and turn it into something that's a little more house music ready. So we're going to take the kick drum, turn it to like a 4/4 to really emphasize how flexible and creative Ableton can be with these kinds of things. From here, I'm just going to manually edit this MIDI clip by dragging, dropping, duplicating, just to get the rhythm to where it needed to be. I'm looking to go house with this, so I'm going to need a 4/4 beat, and then maybe some offset snares, give it a little funk, a little swing. I'm going to duplicate these kick drums by highlighting them, choosing Apple D, or right-clicking and choosing duplicate, as I just did. So now I want to preview these sounds. Let's solo this so we can focus on our rhythm for a second. If you ever want to preview sounds in a drum rack or even a synth, you can click on the little headphone icon inside the MIDI clip that's on the top left. This allows you to either click on notes or click on the left-hand side guide, which tells you which pieces of audio that you can access inside your MIDI clip. As I'm selecting this MIDI clip, I want you to look to the top of my MIDI clip window. Notice a yellow line at the top. This is letting me know that I've selected a certain amount of time. So when I duplicate that time, it's going to go to the portion of time selected right after. So this way the note falls into the half note selection that I had made when I duplicate it. Next step is to get the hi-hats that we have from earlier a little more in line with what maybe house music might have in it. So I'm going to use my envelopes to draw out, or let's say silence some of the hi-hats, maybe make the pattern a little less 16th notey, maybe a little more along the lines of 8th notey. So I just went to my envelopes, went to volume, and I'm just turning the volume down to 0 at certain points in the audio. It's pretty easy to see visually where I should draw the volume down to 0. That sounds a little better. Just wanted to turn the busyness of the hi-hats down a bit, so I think we're in a good place with that. Next step is to add a bass line to all this craziness. So I'm going to use Ableton's search function to search through my instruments and find me a bass sound. So I'm going to click on the instruments category, and then I'm going to, in the search area, I'm going to type the word bass, and then all the presets that have the word bass in them will appear in the search window. So so I can quickly preview these. Another new feature of Ableton Live 9 is to be able to click on synthesizer presets and not have to load them up to hear them. So this is a great improvement because now we don't have to load up a synth, play with it to figure out if it won't fit. This sounds interesting, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it in. And then also what I want to do is duplicate my MIDI riff that we've analyzed from our original audio clip, and I want to use this MIDI data to help drive my bass. I'm going to do this with the help of some MIDI effects. I'm going to bring in the pitch MIDI effect and transpose all notes coming in down 2 octaves. Put it more into a bass perspective. Looking inside my clip, I have a lot of data that's playing my bass machine, and I really don't want a lot of it. I really just want to hear the bottom end of this, which is usually where bass lives. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this data, and I'm going to right click on it and choose deactivate clips. This will deactivate MIDI data so it won't be heard. You can also activate MIDI clips by taking MIDI clips that are turned off, right-clicking them and choosing Activate Clip. So this is nice if you're trying to just visually see where the tonality is, but you don't want to be distracted by the notes. So I've deactivated all those notes just so we keep the ones in the lowest register playing, and the rest of them are just there so we can kind of see where things fall tonally in our clip. So let's take a listen, and it's sounding a little low. I think I need to mess with the filter and modulation here. See if we can bring this to life. In the interest of time, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit on this demo, but don't worry, you're not missing anything here. Here we go, I think that's it. So I'm going to use this Juno 106 bass. It's part of the analog presets. Analog is, of course, one of the synths that you get if you purchase Suite. It's a 2-oscillator analog synth emulator. I think we got something here. I'm going to go back to my MIDI effects, and I'm going to grab another tool that I use to help filter MIDI data. We're going to use the arpeggiator. I'm bringing in the arpeggiator to kind of help give me some variety in the rhythm of MIDI that's being played. So it's going to allow me to offset some of the MIDI data and maybe play some notes that aren't actually there. So I'm going to use it as a MIDI filter to help add some variety without having to add or change the MIDI notes. So we're keeping our original MIDI data and just using MIDI effects to add variety and change things up a little bit for different instruments or different parts of our production. So technically speaking, this brings us to all the new stuff that I need to show you for this particular demo. There's of course more of this demo available to see. I will fast forward to the end so you can kind of hear our final production and kind of take a last look at my setup. But for the most part, I repeat this idea of taking the MIDI data, adding a new item to add strings, and then add an arpeggiation a little later. So I'll fast forward to this end portion and leave you with a few bits of information. Okay, so this is where we ended up with things. I added an arpeggiation and some strings, as you can hear, and you can kind of see in the background there. I'm going to leave you with a few bits of information. One is that everything that I've done today is available in Ableton. I didn't use any external samples or synths to get anything done. Everything is available in Suite or via a free live pack download that you can get on ableton.com. Other bits of important information are that if you are in the New York City area on Tuesday, March 5th, 2013, there's going to be a launch that's going to be presented by the Ableton Advanced Users Meetup of NYC. It's going to be held at Tekserve, which is at 119 West 23rd Street. And I'll have the info up on the screen. Pause the video and write that down. You should RSVP if you want to be at this event in person, or if you want to view it live. It will be streamed on shocklee.com. Again, the info will be up on the screen. That's it for now. More demos coming. Stay tuned and enjoy Ableton Live.